Hello, artists and arbors. This is my second plate in illustration class. I created a two-page watercolor comic for a story that our prof gave. At first, the king wanted to cover the roads with leather because it hurts to walk on bare feet. But alas, a wise man recommended to just cover the people's feet with leather. Thus, shoes were made. This story shows that instead of trying to change the world, we must change ourselves. It was a beautiful story that inspired me to be kind every day. Using my Seamiart and Prang watercolors for this slate, I added on layers and layers through flat light colors at first. Please excuse my lighting here because I was filming against the light. I'm so sorry.
I don't need to, but I need to know before I let you go.
The problem is that there is no turning back when I lay down those colors because it's watercolor, and even though it is fairly transparent, it is still visible, and also there is no white gouache to cover up the mistakes. In here, I was painting the first page, and the first panel is the king by the bed who has wounds on his feet and is thinking about his citizens if they will also be wounded and hurt when using the roads.
Tadayo, why you so fine? Gotta make you fine. No. Tadayo, tadayo. Tadayo.
Here in the second panel, he was suggesting that the roads will be covered in leather. I made my character, the king, look a little bit colorful because it's a children's book, and I also made a cute puff sleeves so that he will look like Cinderella, something like that. Here is my study for this in black and white. I first started out with a sketch, but I didn't like it, so I sketched it in another paper. Sometimes things just don't work out, so I just have to restart, and it's okay to do so.
I'm so crazy, I'm not scared to be alone.
So in here, I'm just filling up all the white gaps that I may have even using watercolor. I don't even know what's up with this brown, but every time I use it, I always get messed up hands. But that's an artist for you. And then in here, the place was dark because there's a fireplace, and it's like the meeting room of the wise man and his king. It might look villainous, but it's on purpose, and I just wanted some contrast between the bright colors of the king and of the scene on the fireplace. Next up is the second page. I used a kneaded eraser to remove the graphite because when you put down a watercolor wash on graphite pencil, it will stain and will show through. It will look messy if you ask me. I've always made that mistake in the past and I'm not gonna do it again. I'm starting off with the blue sky, and it's a fairly light wash. It's kind of difficult to go over the edges using watercolor and using this big old brush. Here's my progress for the second page. You might be wondering how did I pick this color scheme, and I just thought that it's an illustration book for children, and I just thought that these colors are vibrant, so I use them. And it also contrasts to the time setting that it was in. I think it was in 1400s. I also added a lot of grays on the piece, and I was just thinking about contrast and also how to get this perspective in a kind of acceptable way. I freehanded this part because I don't want to put pencil anymore, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. And in here, I was searching rocks. So I painted the road with a fairly light wash again. Added some colors and layers. It's actually difficult to paint a background scene because sometimes you get caught up in details or you don't know what to put. Especially it was my first time of making backgrounds, and it looks like they're floating, but I made sure that I was gonna be able to pull off the perspective, so the rocks and the people are my foreground, kinda. Looking back at it 3 months later, it kinda gives me a new perspective on this plate, but the lesson was really an insightful one because when it seems that you're down to nothing and you feel like the world is against you, you just pause for a second and think that, yeah, maybe there's something wrong with society, but you can try to change yourself and influence others to do so. As long that it is for good, then you go for it. Be the change you wanted to see in the world. And in here, I was just eating pesto cooked by my mom. It was scrumptious and tasteful. Then in here, I just added on the little details like the family on the left as a symbol of the change that we're supposed to see by the end of the story. And in here, I was adding on the petals and the flowers to make a floral wreath that I haven't made since 2020, I guess, or 2019. So this was really a challenge for me again, and to put it in a miniature way, it was kind of hard, but I did it. So congratulations to myself.
Ano to, be? Anong country, min? Ano to? Today, why am I in here today? Mom, make shit brings all the boys to the yard.
Here are the final shots of my clay, and I absolutely love it and love the process of this one. Thank you for watching and stay safe everyone. Bye!